Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the proceedings of the Grand Rapids Public School Board of Education. It is Monday, October 2. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, please take the roll.
Would love to. Good evening, everyone. Miss Lewis.
Yes.
Reverend Matthias. Is Reverend Matthias excused? Have we heard from him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming he's coming back from the...
He's at Cube. Very good. Mr. Ross.
Present.
Ms. Schottky here. Ms. Slade.
Present.
Dr. Baker is excused. Dr. Flores.
Here.
Ms. Grant.
Present.
And President Fauld.
Present. Next on I need approval for the agenda as written. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have the agenda. Next is celebrations.
Dr. Fauld, and members of the board, I'd like to ask Maggie Malone to come forward.
Thank you, Superintendent Leather-Allendale, Dr. Fauld, and members of the board. We are very excited to have with us today Ann King. She is from CARE Ballet. This is a nonprofit organization that works with students, obviously, through the lens of ballet, and they have been working hard and for a long time, 25 years, to create opportunities for students. So many of our GRPS students have benefited from this program, and we have some that are slated already to go see their show, and Ann is going to tell us a little bit more about it, but we're super excited to have the CARE Ballet with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Weather-O'Neill and board members. This is just like coming home to me. 30-plus years with Grand Rapids Public Schools, and I still cause trouble once in a while. So our CARE Ballet, very quickly, we are celebrating our 25th season this year. It started in 1992 with Judy Jensen as our artistic director and Trent Wadsworth as our technical director, Robin Cobell as our stage manager. And from the very earliest days of this organization, part of our mission has been to introduce classical ballets to young children. As a result, our performances are only 1 hour long, which I always like to say, great for kids and great for grandpas. When we started, we have our public performances on the weekends, and the Friday before, we hold school performances. And in the beginning, we had schools coming from all over Kent County. And as I was working for the district at the time, I began to notice our schools weren't coming. And the reason they weren't coming is because nobody had enough money to send them. So in 2001, when we became a nonprofit 501(c)(3), CARES changed, and the board decided to target underserved audiences. And our target is 80% or more for your reduced lunch, which makes it very clear which schools in Kent County will qualify. So obviously, we are always seeking corporate underwriters and individual donors to make sure these things happen. As a result, kids come to our shows, we cover the cost of busing and cover the cost of tickets. So basically, they have to get there. So we also realized very early that when these kids were coming to our ballets, they had no clue what they were looking at. And so they would sit and this fabulous ballet would be going on and no one was talking, and they were like, what's going on? So at that time, we started going out to the schools. We bring dancers, I bring the music, we explain the choreography, we tell the kids how to behave during the performance, we demonstrate when to applaud, things to kind of look for in the choreography and so on. And as a result, now when they come to the ballets, they are excellent audiences, they are totally engaged, and they're just truly a delight to have. Our mission, as I said, is to introduce classical ballet. So some of the performances that we have done are names that you may or may not recognize: Coppelia, Giselle, Petrushka. We also this year are doing Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. We do children's literature, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. That was a huge hit a few years ago. Tales of Hans Christian Andersen, Carnival of the Animals, and more. What I would like you to think about, however, is when we go into schools and we explain to the kids what's happening and we share the music, that all goes well. I used to be a principal, it's gonna go well. That part doesn't really. But as soon as our dancer gets up there, those kids are transformed. And they watch the ballerinas or the male dancers. And so I think the kids say it best. One of the things we do ask is a follow-up writing assignment of some kind, and many of them do send us thank you letters, which of course many of those are passed immediately on to our donors so that they'll still underwrite us. And so here's some of the things taken directly from what the children had to say. I saw my special dancer. I think she saw me too because she was smiling. Of course she's smiling, she's on stage, but that's okay. A couple more. My favorite part was when the little girl could not quite keep up. She was trying so hard. I liked that part because she did not give up when she messed up. She kept going and acted like nothing had happened. That's one of the most common questions we get from kids. What happens if you fall? What happens if you mess up? And you get up, you keep going. We invited older students one year when we did A Midsummer Night's Dream. I don't know about you, but Shakespeare, whatever, right? So a high school student from Central High, I truly spent over a month trying to understand this story in class. In 1 hour, it all made sense to me.
That's great.
There you go. We learned a lot about the kids too. Unfortunately, sometimes. I liked how they argued without yelling on the stage. I wish my mom and dad would figure that out. Right? This was almost a life-changing experience. And,
Non-committal.
so close. So close. And from a 5th grade boy, probably my all-time favorite quote, "Before I came to this ballet, I did not like ballet at all. Now that I have seen one, I do not think I can live without it." So those are the kids. Coming Friday this year, Ford, Southwest Community Campus, Coit, Stocking, Buchanan, East Leonard, Palmer, Mulick, and Burton Elementary. And that's who we'll be seeing Friday at either 10 o'clock or 12:30. If any of you want to sit down and be a chaperone with one of our kids, I can guarantee it'll be an experience you'll never forget. But that's what we do, and mostly Grand Rapids Public School kids are our target audience. And just as a plug, we have capacity for a whole grade level, if that was ever to become a priority or something that could be managed from the district level. I know the elementaries have those grade level field trips, so just putting it out there. I got nothing to lose. Thank you. That's right.
Good, Ann, thank
Yep,
you.
my pleasure.
Awesome.
Good to see her.
Next on our agenda, Dr. Gorman informed me that he is in the middle of the process of identifying student representative or two, or one? Two for the board. So we'll look forward to that. Do we have public comment for the agenda items?
No, we do not.
Secretary's report.
All right, I have 2 items this evening. As a reminder, it's time to apply for the Mayor's Youth Council. The City of Grand Rapids is seeking civic-minded youth to apply for a seat on the Mayor's Youth Council. The council members serve a 1-year term from October to May. Council members broaden the scope of youth leadership in city government by discussing policy issues that affect them with the mayor, city commission, and staff, gathering input from area youth, promoting awareness of the strengths and abilities of youth, and coordinating with other local and national organizations. Requirements for the Youth Council include: students must live within one of the city's 3 wards and be enrolled in the 9th through 12th grades, no exceptions there. Of course, Grand Rapids Public School students are strongly encouraged to apply. To apply online, please go to ourcommunitieschildren.com, select programs, then Mayor's Youth Council. You can click on the Apply to the Mayor's Youth Council Here link. Or, of course, go to Our Communities Children Facebook page. Applications are due this Thursday, October 5th. And lastly, please join Grand Rapids Public Schools for the School Choice Expo and Family Harvest Festival on Thursday, October 19, from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Gerald R. Ford Academic Center, located at 851 Madison Avenue Southeast. Join us for a free dinner, children's activities, a bounce house, and a chance to learn all about your GRPS school choices, of which we have many. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee chair update. There's none from
No, we meet in 2 weeks.
And Dr. Baker isn't here, so Reverend Matias?
Yes, we met September 19th, and our committee is made up of Mr. Ross and who else? My two colleagues to my left here. And we had an interesting meeting that really addressed a lot of the district assessment system. We thought that it would be helpful for us to kind of see the overall picture of what, how we gather data, how we do our assessments, and how that informs what the schools do and what drives our administrators and our principals. And so it was really interesting to look at what's the primary aim of an assessment, for who is that information for, and then making it user-friendly certainly for our parents as well. And so it's critical. One of the things that they said was that the primary purpose of assessment is not to rate, rank, or sort students, but to provide meaningful feedback that informs decisions. And I think that's really critical. Hopefully at a grassroots level, it means that it provides information for parents to be able to know what to do, both for their kids that are at level and those that maybe are not, and those that then are above level and then have options, which I believe that our district is doing. So it was a very good meeting.
Did you review the different assessments in the district or just a specific
Yep.
assessment?
We looked at the assessments in general education, special ed. And so we really looked at that. I believe that we should have been provided, the board provided those PowerPoints that were provided to us as well, so.
Questions other than mine? Reverend Matias? Okay, great. Superintendent's report.
Dr. Faub, I would ask Dr. Ron Gorman to come forward to just share briefly about an update for Comp Day, which is this week, Wednesday.
So good evening, Superintendent Weatherall Neal, President Faub, distinguished members of our Board of Education. Please spread the word that Wednesday, October 4, is Count Day. Every day counts, as you are all well aware, but this Wednesday is super important to our school district because it determines 90% of our funding. Our team has sent many mailings, we've had many robocalls, sent numerous text messages, been incredibly active on social media, Facebook and Twitter, so we believe we've gotten the word out. In addition to the quality instruction that we have in our schools every single day, and in addition to the quality instruction that we will have on Wednesday, October 4, our schools and principals have lots of fun activities planned for our students at the end of those days and throughout that count day. So again, Wednesday, October 4, we need students to be here and be here on time. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 2 action items. Mr. Hemholt, do you want to give us the overview of the resolution?
Library millage.
Library millage.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, before you today, our friends from the Grand Rapids Public Library and the committee that is seeking essentially a renewal of a longstanding library millage that once was originally used for capital improvements. What they're asking is that this be renewed and continued, but repurposed so the dollars could be used for operating. It has pretty widespread support. And obviously, we have a strong working relationship with the Grand Rapids Public Library. We do many activities with them. I know that Carolyn Evans and her team have a particularly tight relationship, and we do the One Book, One City. And so they've asked for the board to consider a resolution of support for this millage renewal.
Any questions for Mr. Hemholt? I think most of us have individually endorsed it, so, but this is nice to have a public representation from the board. So with that, do I have a motion for approval?
moved. Support.
Any discussions or deliberations? Please take the vote.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Reverend Matias,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Shotke, yes. Ms. Slade,
Yes.
Dr. Baker is excused. Dr. Flores,
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
And President Faub.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next on our agenda, action item, approval of the purchasing agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Any concerns, deliberations? Please take a,
All right, Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Shotke, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker excused. Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
President Faub.
yes.
Motion carries.
Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Reverend Matias?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Shotke, yes. Ms. Slade?
Yes.
Dr. Baker excused. Dr. Flores?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
And President Faub.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We have one discussion item. Coming up in November is the State Assembly of the Michigan Association of School Board, and we are allowed a delegation. I have been that delegate in the past. I know Ms. Slade has been that delegate in the past, Reverend Matias, Mr. Ross, Dr. Baker. Ms. Lewis has already offered to be a delegate, so that is awesome, but we have room for up to 4. So any other interest here?
I will be out of town.
Some of the newbies that haven't
I'll be
done
traveling
it?
as well. I'll be at a
Well,
conference,
Gil?
I'm sorry.
Dr. Flores?
I'll consider it, I suppose.
Good, good. That's awesome. Okay, awesome. That's great.
Been there, done that.
Do we have any public comment for,
We do not.
okay, superintendent's comments?
I would just like to thank our partners with Art Prize. We had, our students were recognized this weekend, and it was just a wonderful event. Thanks to Maggie. Our Kristen is a part of that team as well. But really, the partners for Art Prize, it was just wonderful to see the parents. They were so excited for their kids, so that was nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mr. Ross?
No comment tonight.
Dr. Flores?
No comment.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes. I would like to give a shout out to Jolinda Lucas and to the Student Advancement Foundation for supporting a second volleyball team at the Museum Montessori and UPrep group. About 55 girls showed up to try out for a 7th and 8th grade team, so rather than cut all of them and discourage them for the rest of their lives about volleyball, Jolinda petitioned the Student Advancement Foundation, and they provided uniforms and another coach so that we could have 2 teams. And another thing is that I would like to just suggest to the school board that you take a look at a New York Times article from September the 5th. It's called "Michigan Gambled on Charter Schools and Kids Lost." And it's a really interesting expose of the fact that the schools here in Michigan, 80% of them are owned by private enterprise for profit. And most of the schools, if they are compared, sorting out for the demographics that an urban school deals with, their scores are no better than our scores. And I found the article very interesting, and I thought I'd share that with others.
Thank you. Ms. Slade? Reverend Matias? Oh! You were at Cube. Cough it up, buddy.
Yes, it was. Yes, I was. Yeah, it was, it was quite exciting to be back in New Orleans. I went there to volunteer when Katrina hit. And I was there for a week doing triage and helping. And what was interesting was when I came in, where I came in was underwater. And I was watching the Superdome, and thousands of people were gathered there. When I went this time, the whole city was vibrant. So it was really interesting to see, to experience that comparison. The CUBE conference this year really centered on a lot of the kinds of things that we're spearheading in our own district. The equity issue, a lot of the opportunity that we had as urban districts to really cross-pollinate and see what each other is doing and to learn from each other. Chris Smith was one of the keynote speakers on Friday. He was a teacher that turned poet, and he just came out with a book. He signed it for us. And it was really fascinating because he really took a combination of history and really made it alive for his students, but also made it alive for us that we're hearing. We had an opportunity to talk to a lot of different districts about what they're doing, personnel issues, the teacher shortage issue, the administration issue, the special ed issue, ESL issues that a lot of districts are facing, and like most of us, having to do a lot with a little. And rather than it just being one of those sessions that you just sort of complain, there was really a lot that was offered by different districts in terms of what they were doing. So it was a great opportunity for Dr. Baker and I to kind of sit and talk together and look at what we're doing and moving forward, but also to talk to others as well. What was interesting is that quite a few people came up to us and said, hey, we see what you're doing in your district. How are you doing that? And we had a chance to talk about some of those kinds of things as well. So obviously, folks are paying attention to what our teachers, administrators, and certainly our superintendent is doing. So thanks so much for the opportunity.
Ms. Sharkey?
No comment tonight.
No comment.
Just want to express my thanks to the teachers and kids hanging tough through the heat wave, and that's all. So, meeting adjourned.
Record time meeting.